we get started, I just want to go over a few technical housekeeping tips, if you will. For all the attendees, if you could make sure that you keep your video off and that you remain muted, that would be great. If at any time you have a question throughout the presentation, before we get to the question and answer session, you will be able to use the Q&A feature, or you can raise your hand. There is an icon that looks like a little hand. If you click on that, it's midway on the right-hand side of your screen. It will allow us to see that you would like to ask a question, and we will address you at that time. Next, if you would like to maximize your view to a full screen view, if you look to the right-hand side of your screen, at the top of the video, there is a small icon that looks like a silhouette of 3 people. If you click on that, it will take you to a full screen view, and at that time, you should be able to see all of our panelists on video simultaneously. If you look to the top of your screen, there will be a drop-down kind of a menu with some icons on it. There is a Q&A icon with a question mark on it. If you click on that, it will open the Q&A app. You should also see a chat feature as well as a participant view. So if you click on that, you'll be able to see everyone who joins the session today. Now, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and introduce our panelists for today. We have with us today Vilmarie Martinez, who is a 2007 graduate of UNCG. She received a Bachelor of Science from UNCG and now resides in Wake County. She currently works for UNC Chapel Hill in Human Resources and is also the owner of Contour Kiss Makeup Artist. She's a makeup artist. We also have Isaac B. Horton, who is a 2011 graduate of UNCG, who is the owner of Oak City Fish and Chips, an outstanding food truck company, along with some other business ventures that he has his hands in. Isaac is also a resident of Wake County, born and raised in Wake County. We also have Kayne Fisher with us. Kayne Fisher is a 1994 graduate of UNCG, and he's the co-owner of Natty Greene's Brewery right here in Greensboro. To get us started, we are going to start with Vilmarie Martinez, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her entrepreneurship journey and how she got started.
Well, Crystal, thank you so very much for putting together this wonderful webinar. I'm so excited because I don't get to talk about my career too often, or my journey to entrepreneurship. It was a little bit difficult, but if I would have had something like this with 3 different individuals who are operating 3 different businesses, and I'm pretty sure I have gone through 3 different experiences, it probably would have been a little bit easier for me. I don't know. I might just be throwing that out there. But again, I'm Vilmarie Martinez. I'm the owner of Contour Kiss Makeup Artistry. I have been mastering my artistry for over 10 years and officially in business with Contour Kiss for a little over a year now. So I specialize in delivering beauty trending looks for glamorous brides of all ethnicities, photo shoots, corporate professionals needing out-of-the-box headshots, male grooming, and curriculum-intensive one-on-one and private classes. That's a lot, so it's not just playing with makeup. I promise I do a little bit more. So diving in a little bit as to why I started. So I have 2 reasons. My first reason was just a little bit unconventional. And it was a while ago. So my first reason for starting my passion and beginning my artistry was because of my sister. My sister and I are 9 years apart, and I won't say who's the oldest, but she was in dance competition and beauty pageants, and I just didn't feel comfortable with random individuals backstage or just strangers getting my sister ready. So I decided to teach myself. I decided to teach myself how to create these looks that would be appropriate for dance competitions and beauty pageants, and that was one of my main reasons for starting. So fast forwarding to today, I've heard that I may just like to play with makeup, but I promise you that's not it. I really have an unyielding desire to display everyone's innate beauty, whether it's male or female, whether it's for a bride's most memorable day, or a professional who really just wants to put their best face forward in a headshot. And that's really where I am at today. Those are the two reasons why. So my sister, and my current day is, you know, building that self-confidence, because we feel confident either taking on the world or taking on a new profession or smiling in a picture if we feel our best. So how I got started. How I got started with Contour Kiss. So let me just say that I am pretty sure I talked myself out of this a million times before I even said yes. And when I said yes, it was more of a maybe, yes. So I almost didn't even believe myself. So I kept on telling myself, I already have a 50-plus hour week job. I was working in corporate America. I have a spouse and a toddler. The market is already saturated with makeup artists. You can see it on social media. You can see it on different blogs. And one of the final questions, or one of the final, key components that I kept on talking myself out of was, will I be successful? So here I was, not even considering, Vilmarie, you can actually do this. Let's put a plan in motion. None of that. I was just telling myself, you can't do this. This is not feasible, and here are the reasons why. So a really close friend of mine told me to stop coming up with excuses why not, and explore the possibilities of a yes, and a definite yes. So in July 2015, I created just general business cards off of Vistaprint. I invested $14.99 into myself. By that time, I had not created the name Contour Kiss. I didn't know where I wanted this business to go. So I decided that my first step was coming up with business cards. It was very generic. Vistaprint made it super easy for me to come up with just a really generic design. And I just put my name on that business card and my contact information. I said, well, let's see how this starts. August of 2015, I decided to buy my domain. And within the time frame of July and August, on my trips driving from my office to home, or my office to the daycare to pick up my little one, or to the grocery store, I would come up with different names and different, different creative ideas for me to come up with. How am I going to make my name catchy? Am I going to fall in love with this business name? Is it going to be something that's going to be appealing to anyone and everyone? And one of the biggest mistakes that I will say that I made with trying to come up with my business name before I bought my domain was I was including the input of everyone. Now, I think this is why it took so long for me, because I would come up with a name or two and I would throw it out to some of my friends, some family members, and everybody had an opinion. I was like, oh man, I really thought this would be super, super awesome, and I decided that because this was my business, and this was what was going to be taking time away from my family and my personal time, I needed to make this decision on my own. So I came up with Contour Kiss. I wrote it down, and I stepped away from it for about 3 days, and I kept on coming back to it, and I said, I think this is going to be okay. So in August of 2015, again, I bought my domain. I didn't do anything with my website. I just wanted to see where my business was going to go. So I operated off a user-friendly site called StyleSeat. So they basically did all my appointments. I was able to take payments off that website. So it was very user-friendly and extremely generic. And again, nothing where I was committing way too much of myself. Fast forward to January 16 of 2016, so this year. is when I launched my official Contour Kiss website. And the reason why I decided to do this is because in August, when I made my Style Seat Live and I publicized everything via social media, Facebook and Instagram, within 2 weeks of posting that, I am a makeup artist in the RTP area, servicing all of North Carolina, I was busy from September all the way up until December. I was floored. So because of this, I said, all right, well, this is enough confirmation for me to go ahead and put this in gear and create my own website. So I said all of this to say that I am still working. I'm in my office. So how do I balance? How do I balance my business? Because my two other peers that are on the webinar right now, Isaac and Kayne, I am not fully invested into Contour Kiss. So I'm living a double life. So how do I balance? I have a spouse, I have a toddler, well, I can't really call her a toddler anymore, but I have a little one, and I have a career. I am no longer in the corporate setting, so I needed something to where I can tap into my creative side. And this is where Contour Kiss comes in. So the way I balance is my family is extremely supportive. And I think in order to make your business successful, you need to set forth a plan, and you need to share it with the people that are going to be with you every day, living your career with you from sun up to sundown. And if you're not working hard enough, if you're not tired at the end of the day, you're not working hard enough for your business. And by the time that I lay my head on my pillow, I'm exhausted, but I feel so fulfilled. So that's where I find my balance. I find my balance with bouncing off ideas from family and friends and people that really mean the most to me and getting my customer feedback. Now, work and business. Work and business. How do I prioritize? I live and breathe by my calendar. I live and breathe by my scheduling, and I also do set aside my personal time and my family time. So I schedule all of that as well. And I think in order to be successful, if you are considering starting a career or starting your own business, and you don't necessarily want to dive right in, it would be just prioritizing and balancing. So I will finish up by saying that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it, keep looking and don't settle. So I got that little quote from Steve Jobs. So I hope that some of the trials and some of the stumbles that I came across before I started Contour Kiss helped some of you guys. So I will say in a nutshell, it's not just me playing with makeup. I love the educational portion of it, and I love being able to make men and women smile because of their beauty and experiencing a new journey in their life, whether it's a wedding or professional headshots. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing your story, Bill. Next, we're going to go with, we're going to let Isaac tell his story into how he got started with Oak City Fish and Chips.
Okay, how's everyone doing today? I hope everybody's doing well. I have been an entrepreneur since I was maybe 8 years old. I started off as a little kid that would knock on your family's door Saturday morning while you're watching cartoons and say, hey man, hey sir, see your grass is a little overgrown, have a lawnmower outside. I'd love to be able to service your lawn for $10 to $15, and went from that to having 2 or 3 more kids under me, some lawnmowers that I bought, and until we had the whole neighborhood. And entrepreneurship for me at a young age is very organic. My father was one of the foremost experts in intellectual property in the world. He has over 247 patents, and I've learned a lot from him as an entrepreneur and inventor. And I never looked back. I went from lawn mowing to event planning to attending UNCG and studying at the Bryan School of Business, where I got a degree in economics. And after UNCG, I worked for a company here, you may have heard of them, the #2 computer company in the world behind HP, Lenovo, and the RTP. And I managed North Carolina and South Carolina, their channel sales. So I handled their business account for North Carolina and South Carolina. And during that year, I believed in what I call half a day. Well, as an entrepreneur, my dad said that, a great entrepreneur works a half a day. It's not a 4 hours or half of an 8-hour shift, but it's a half a day, 12 hours. So I go to work from 8 to 5, and then I put an extra 4 hours in the evening time, what I call my due diligence time. And I go out on the internet or go and visit places that I identified were great for me to be able to record data and research and be able to kind of let my entrepreneur eyes wander and search around and see how many dollar signs I could find. During that time period, I identified 10 small businesses that cost under $100,000 to start, where you make anywhere from $300,000 to $3,000 profit every single day. And I've been starting a new one every 300 days. Oak City Fish and Chips is my newest company. I noticed about 2 years ago that there was a growing trend for food trucks in the Raleigh-Durham area, particularly as there's high demand for people to perform at work, and oftentimes jumping in your car in a parking lot that's full of cars, a sea of cars, driving to a place, having a seat, placing your order, waiting for your food to come, eating, et cetera, became a long process. And so a lot of companies began to look for convenient ways to be able to provide very accessible food to their employees. Simultaneously, neighborhoods, apartment communities, the same apartment communities that were housing the RTP employees here in the Raleigh-Durham area, they also appreciated being able to provide convenient food for their residents. And so I launched the Oak City Fish and Chips based off my due diligence in the food truck industry. I noticed there were a lot of burger trucks, a lot of hot dog vendors, a lot of North Carolina barbecue. North Carolinians love that barbecue. But I particularly noticed, even though we were so close to the coast here in Raleigh, that we didn't really have any niche food truck concept that was in seafood. And so simultaneously, I'm a big foodie. I'm about 15 to 20 times heavier than I should be right now on this summer grilling out and cooking. But I'm really big on flavor. And I'm the type of guy that when a new restaurant opens in Raleigh, I go to the restaurant, me and friends go, we try to order the whole menu and taste all the different flavors. And so needless to say that seasoning was very big for me. So I created 2 proprietary spice blends and formed an ancillary company called Oak City Spice Blends, which houses the recipes for the spice blend that we use on the seafood, which is essentially our point of difference and why in the first 1 year we were rated a 5-star food truck. It's not that the frying process is magic. It's not that we're wizards at putting the food down into the oil, but when that food comes out and it's fresh and hot and it's hundreds of degrees, it's the spice blend that we put on the seafood, which is really the secret behind our flavor. And so we went from 1 food truck within our first 3 months to our second food truck, and our third one launches next week. We're 5 quarters old, so we're a year and 3 months old exactly on the 23rd of this month. And so it's been a phenomenal experience for us. One of the biggest things I'd say that surprised me when starting the business was how customers will react to the food. That's been one of the most humbling experiences of Oak City Fish and Chips with the loyal customers that really beat our doors down, check on us. If we're down for a day for routine repairs and they don't see the post on our website down for our regular scheduled maintenance, we have people calling. That's been one of the most surprising experiences, how passionate people are about the food. I know I'm very passionate, but it seems like every other person in Raleigh with food, they really appreciate their food. One of the biggest obstacles that we had with Oak City Fish and Chips, and this was revealed in our due diligence process, but it's the zoning laws in Raleigh. Raleigh is a very conservative city, as opposed to other areas in the country or even other counties in North Carolina where food trucks are allowed to pull up pretty much anywhere on public property as long as they're not blocking the right of way. Raleigh has some very specific rules as it pertains to how food trucks can operate in Wake County. And so being very meticulous and being very calculated about our operational model is one of the biggest reasons behind our quick success, really being creative on what type of events that we choose to do. For example, we have a permanent location downtown Raleigh at the corner of Wilmington and Berry Street, right beside the Lincoln Theater, which we have a corporate partnership with Order Up, Delivery and Grubhub, so we're delivering to every professional office and every apartment community downtown Raleigh. But then we have a second truck, for example, that when people come to that truck in downtown Raleigh, they say, hey, look, I go to church here, or, I live in this neighborhood, and I happen to be downtown and heard about you guys. Would you guys come out? And so we have our second and third truck, our event trucks that travel around Raleigh, Cary, Durham, the greater Wake County area, Wake Forest, Knightdale, Garner, all the what I call as a very proud Raleigh provinces of Raleigh, even though these places are sovereign cities and towns. And we are accessible to those, to the outskirts and to those hubs with our traveling trucks. So we're very excited. We recently found out that we made it to the last round of Shark Tank season 9. So keep us in your prayers and in your hopes to see if we are able to get on ABC and represent Raleigh to the rest of the country. I'd say that that's a quick summary of how I started focusing business, and I'll yield the floor back to Christy.
Well, thank you for that, and congratulations on making it to the last round of Shark Tank, and we hope that you represent not only Raleigh, but UNCG well. Next, we're going to turn it over to Kayne Fisher with Natty Greene.
I'm the old dog here. I'm seeing an 11 and a 07. I was 94, but, for us, the dream really began in 1988. When myself and my business partner were attending UNCG, and we were working at a local wholesaler here after class, and it was a wine warehouse essentially that distributed throughout the Triad. And we'd get out of class, we'd go pick orders and fill trucks until the wee hours of the morning, 1, 2. And we'd get back, and like a lot of college kids, we had dreams and aspirations. And for us, our dream was to do a bar one day. And I think at that time it was for all the wrong reasons, I can say now. But it was something that we wanted to follow without really having a plan at that time. But that changed in 1989 when something came into that warehouse that was foreign to everybody, and that was called micro beer. Today it's known as craft, but back in my day it was known as micro beer. And we tried it and we liked it. It was, like I said, it was foreign to most, but it was Sam Adams and it was Sierra Nevada, and it came in bottles. It didn't come in a can, and we thought there was something to it. So what it did is it gave us a concept and to follow. And so we started doing some research, and we saw that there was a heck of a scene in California and Colorado and in the Midwest as well. And so we started to study and learn more about it, and just felt that, we always said the South is 5 to 10 years behind, so we wanted to get in on something that we felt there would be a future, but more importantly, that's something that we wanted to do, that was going to be a reflection of us. And so our dream became reality in, in 1996, when we opened Old Town Draft House right in the heart of UNCG's campus, July 4th, and, to a lot of skepticism. People came in, and at the time, 17 draft lines were unheard of. Most people didn't drink draft beer. Most people didn't hear of micro beer. And so there's a lot of skepticism, but through a lot of learning on our part, a lot of teaching as well. We were able to convert people, and we had a food element as well, because we figured if somebody's going to, if this craft thing takes off, people are going to jump on it, but we needed to separate ourselves outside of the location. So we made sure we had a good food element as well. So we put the food and the beer together, and it sent us to our second location in 1998 in Winston-Salem, called First Street Draft House. Same idea, different name. We started seeing this wave from California and Colorado and Michigan start coming down to the south, to the East Coast, and this craft wave. And so we fortunately got in when we did. And in 2000, we came back to Greensboro and opened our third place, Tap Room, over off the Battleground. And that's when Chris and I had a shift in plans for our future. We said, we're serving all this great craft beer. And then that 2000 is when it started changing from micro beer to craft beer in terms of how it was said and perceived. And we said, we've been serving all this great craft beer over the course of the last 6 years. Let's brew our own. And fortunately for us, downtown Greensboro was revitalizing itself. We were able to get some brewing equipment relatively inexpensive. We were able to find a facility that would house that. We needed 10,000 square foot plus to do a brewing facility, a brew pub, to go along with our 3 draft houses that averaged about 2,000 square feet. And we opened the doors to Natty Greene's Pub and Brewing in 2004, right there in the heart of downtown Greensboro, with the idea to, one, name it after our city's namesake, shorten it a little bit. We're named after Nathaniel Greene here in Greensboro. You kind of see the trend. I've been in Greensboro since the college days, and I don't plan on going anywhere. And really, build a strong sense of community through our brand. And that's where the name came from. So we shortened it to Natty Greene's, opened the doors, 2004. People told us we were crazy for going downtown. Why are you going downtown? Nobody goes downtown. But we were passionate about what we did, and call it dumb luck or call it calculated. This is what we wanted to do. This is what we wanted to pursue. So we were willing to take that risk, and fortunately, it paid off. People came down and enjoyed the product on both sides, and that was pretty much the end in terms of our business plan. We reached our goal of brewing beer. We had our 3 draft houses. We were going to distribute from within our own footprint, but that changed in 2005 when the Greensboro Grasshoppers opened up, and we signed a deal with them thinking we'd sell maybe 5 kegs a homestand in 2005 with the inaugural season there. So we did a deal, and after selling 43 kegs the first homestand, that's when we transitioned from essentially a product to a brand that people are asking, are you guys going to look to get into bottles? Are you going to look to expand your distribution outside of your own footprint? And so we decided to go all in, because that wasn't part of the plan. But after a lot of thought, we decided to go all in. We sold our 3 draft houses, Old Town, First Street, and Tap Room, to former employees who still own them today. And we opened a production facility here in Greensboro where I'm sitting, and with the idea to become a triad brand. But that wave came crashing. It hit hard in North Carolina. When we opened the brew pub in 2004, there were 17 breweries in North Carolina. Today, there's close to 200 with a couple big boys in Asheville. And like I said earlier, we got in at the right time. And, it expanded us from the triad throughout North Carolina and even into parts of Virginia and South Carolina. So, there's really no conclusion to this story, because we're still on this journey. We're still pushing and deciding the next phase of our brand. And with the ever-changing landscape, and not only the craft industry, but in business in general, you've got to be adaptive. You've got to be aware of all things, and take some risks. And we have, and we'll continue to. But it's at the end of the day, this is no hobby. This is a livelihood. This is something that we chose a while ago in the late 80s, and we're going to continue to do this, and hopefully one day, our kids will be working for Natty Greene's.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Kayne. And I think, along with the audience, one consistent message that I heard from all 3 of the panelists is research. and just really being knowledgeable in the area that you are venturing into as an entrepreneur. So again, thank you all for sharing your stories. Right now, what I want to do is open it up to all of the attendees for questions. Again, if you joined us a little bit after we started, and I kind of gave some tips and tricks on how to use the Q&A feature. If you are in the full screen mode, there should be a control at the top of your screen with a box that says Q&A. If you click on that, it will open up a box to the right-hand side of your screen, and you should be able to submit your questions. You can direct questions to any one of the panelists, or you can ask a general question. If you are in the original screen where we started, you can look to the right-hand side of the screen, and the Q&A should be about midway down in a blue header. And there should be a box where you can submit your questions. Looks like we have someone typing, so something's coming in. And I'll start us off. So, and this could, either of you can answer this. What's one piece of advice that you wish you would have had going into your business?
Well, Crystal, I think I've gotten a question here. I don't know if everyone can see it or just to me. That said, how do you go about protecting your recipe? If I'm looking at that. Did you see that question? What was that?
They must have directed it to you, which is totally fine. So feel free to ask that question. We can come back to the other.
Okay, no problem. Let's see, Cynthia. Thank you for asking. I documented the recipe. I had a copy written, and all that is all good. The legality and stuff behind it, but the secret is the real secret is that I definitely don't let anyone have it. So no one has the recipe but my partner and I. And we actually, my partner is kind of like the COO. And we make spice blends in large batches so that we don't have to do it very often, but only we make the spice. I make all the spice for myself. So we had it literally locked up I bought a restaurant downtown about in October, downtown Raleigh, and turned it into a commercial kitchen and commissary. And we have our supply of spice blends locked up there. We actually got placement in local grocery store Southern Season. So we're in the Camden Village location, their Chapel Hill location, their Richmond, Virginia, and their Charleston, South Carolina location. We are required to put the ingredients on the back of the bottle, but we do not have to put the composition of those ingredients. So while you may be able to know exactly what herbs and spices for food safety reasons, for people who have allergies and such, maybe to see exactly what's in the spice blend, but in reference to the proportions in which we mix them together, that information just resides in a documented in the locked up vault in the back case. Hope that answers your question.
All right. It looks like we have a general question that just came in. Thanks for answering that. From Jason. Firstly, he says, thank you for participating in this informational panel. In terms of engagement, how can current students connect in terms of possible internships or externship opportunities that your respective businesses may have?
I'll touch on that a little bit. For us, you can email us through our website. We do offer internships. So it's a pretty simple process in terms of just emailing our general account, and we'll get right back to you and let you know what we have to offer on the intern side.
Thanks, Kayne. It looks like we have another question. What resources are out there to help me with the legal aspects of starting a business? And any of you could...
I'll touch on that one too if you want me to. You know, there's going to be a lot of legal fees in starting a business. You know, whether you're you know, worried about trademarks or copyrights, obviously putting a business plan together, depending on what sector that you're going to get into. In terms of you know, resources out there to help you, it's really going to depend on what you're getting into. If you're getting into something where the state or the city level can help through city council meetings or statewide legislature, if there's opportunities there, then certainly seek them out. But just know that getting into this, sometimes you can say it's unfortunately the American way, but there's a huge legal process and it's costly.
So I will chime in on that as well. So the other resources that are available for you that might not necessarily cost if you're looking to be a bit cost effective, going to your local bank. A lot of the business professionals that are located within the bank do have a lot of resources that are available that are absolutely free, especially if you're wanting to start off your business as a sole proprietorship, which I know Isaac and Kayne may have something that's a little, not necessarily a sole proprietorship, but if you're starting off, that is the most cost-effective way to go ahead and kind of get into being an entrepreneur. So definitely take a look at your local banks and also take a look at your Chamber of Commerce as well, just to check to see what resources are out there for you as well. But for those that are just wanting to start off, a sole proprietorship is usually how you kind of get your toe wet.
Thank you for that. Another resource here at UNCG, we have the North Carolina Center for Entrepreneurship here. And so if you go to the UNCG website and you type that in, you should be able to locate their webpage, and that's also a good resource as well. It's a good group of folks over there, and I've coordinated a lot of events, student-centered and alumni events with them, and so that's definitely a great resource as well.
Crystal?
Yes.
I see two questions as far as how has it been locating your target market for your makeup brand and what methods do you use for advertising? Okay. So for makeup specific, I'll reply back to that one and I'll go ahead and chime in with the advertising. So I don't really have a target market, and the reason I say this is because some may think that makeup is specifically for women, but I will go ahead and tell you that I do have a lot of males, especially some of the grooms that opt for a little bit of pampering, whether it's grooming for their beards or their hair, whichever it is, or also for professional headshots and for stage or TV makeup. So I don't like to limit myself, and the way that I advertise my services, really for me, my bread and butter right now to where I have been able to be very successful in such a short period amount of time is the utilization of social media. I almost kicked and screamed with Facebook. I did not want to get on Facebook. I had gotten off Facebook when I graduated college in 2007, and I swore I was not going to get back on there. But for individuals that were in my current field or in my market, and for other professionals that I was working with, whether it was event coordinators or wedding planners or photographers, everyone said, Vilmarie, you really need to get on Facebook. So I got on there, and I'm going to be very honest. I get a lot of my inquiries and referrals and just questions about, you know, the services that I provide and what my price list and everything is. I get a lot of that from social media. And another thing that has really, really made me successful is the use of hashtags. I never thought this was going to take off. I just said, let me just try this to see how it works, but I am very consistent with the use of my hashtags. I make them location specific. I also make them brand specific, as well as my creativity specific. So I use hashtag Contour Kiss. I also use North Carolina MUA, which is the abbreviated version of makeup artist. And I also use whatever city that I happen to be in or whatever city I'm typically marketing to. So the use of hashtags, I will be so honest, has really taken a new wave. And if you're considering taking on this venture, I will go ahead and say that social media is going to be a extremely big key for you to be successful, at least for me.
Thank you for that, Vilmarie. I will share all of the panelists' social media information. You can follow them, like them, add them on their respective social media sites at the conclusion of this session. But we have another question that came in from Courtney. For the food trucks, where did you post up at first? Also, how did you choose to do fish and chips?
Okay, Courtney. The first question, where did I post up? Well, my due diligence yielded that Raleigh was not a city that was right for dependent upon foot traffic. While Raleigh is a top 25 city, the combination of both the zoning laws and the lack of pretty much distribution centers for people or foot traffic were not conducive to a post-up strategy. In particular, I checked with the Department of Transportation and met with them about the foot traffic statistics for downtown Raleigh, which is the most populous area of Raleigh in a half a mile to 1 mile radius. And during the day, for example, the young professionals and people that live downtown. And the most popular block has 17,000 people that walk by it. But once again, that was the second factor. Foot traffic, but the foot traffic has to align with zoning laws. And so those areas were not zoned in such a way that food trucks were able to benefit from that foot traffic. So my strategy was to identify areas that have 5,000 to 10,000 people in a 1 mile radius, and then to put the food truck in the center of that, the folks that put the center of that, and pay employees to pretty much directly advertise to the businesses and communities that were in that area. Particularly during lunch, I identified 20 companies that had over 2,000 employees that would benefit particularly from having a food resource on their campus that also was accessible to the public, where it would decrease turnover based off of tardiness for people to turn from lunch. These were generally companies that gave their employees 30 minutes for lunch as opposed to 1 hour for lunch. Those companies tend to welcome you right in. So we started off at a place in Raleigh called Xerox. It's a call center where they had 2,500 employees that had 30 minutes for lunch. And that's how I chose Xerox out of a list of 10 other companies that had 2,500 people that simultaneously were positioned in a conducive way with the zoning law so we could legally post up there. And that's where we first started off. Was there. Then we transitioned. That was phase 1 of our plan, was to go to a company. Phase 2 of my plan was then to add a dinner session as well. I started off walking before we could run. We did one lunch session every day. And then I work in the truck myself. I never start a business that I don't personally do everything for at least the first quarter, because it allows me to write my mainly my policy procedure. We have a 250-page operational manual that covers every single thing it takes to operate an OC efficient shift, which greatly contributes to our ability to franchise and to sell OC efficient shifts as a turnkey operation. And so during that process, after I pretty much mapped out everything and optimized as much as I could, then I hired some staff to replace me. While most food trucks are owner-operated, I was a food staff. And we added a dinner session based off of the comfortability of the employees and the platform of credibility that they had gained through their experience with the company. And then we added a dinner session where we would go to apartment communities in the evening time from 5 to 8. These are apartment communities that I looked at and did my due diligence, chose a specific apartment communities based off of the socioeconomic status of those areas as it pertains to its alignment with our price point. The income in that area, while the average food truck menu is from $4 to $8, our menu is from $9 to $23. So we have sit-down restaurant prices that we're serving out of a food truck. So we had to make sure that our price point aligned with where we were going. And then while we began to frequent the apartment communities, it gave us the financial freedom to then be able to explore other companies that fit our same criteria, like Xerox, where the employees had longer time for lunch, generally that was a job that paid more. And we began a rotating model where we were at a different company for lunch and a different company, a different apartment complex for dinner every day. And we chose the apartment complexes and companies based off of the synergy between people working both at the apartment complex and living, working at the company and living at the apartment complex. So we were hitting people not only in their place of work, but at their residence as well. To that giving us then exposure from the trucks traveling all over the triangle to have the platform of credibility to then lock a permanent location in downtown Raleigh where people then, because we had traveled around so much, came to us. And that's how we reached our phase 3. Our phase 3 of our company launched a permanent location in a high traffic area. And that's how we have our permanent location in downtown Raleigh and our rotating system with our 2 other trucks that go to companies, private events, private catering, corporate events, family reunions, employee appreciation, companies provide a shout to for sales promotion, particularly in the holiday times when everyone put their 25% off and come on out for a free meal. And so that's how the evolution of our strategy with our placement with our number 2.
Thank you for that, Brennan.
No problem.
So, Kayne, being in business since the 90s, how would you say social media has played a role in your business and from its inception until now?
Well, social media is huge. You know, when we started, I don't even think there were cell phones, but now everybody's got a smartphone. But our business is highly perceptual. It's perceptual marketing, especially with all the competition and or breweries that are out there. So it's a platform for us to really engage with, you know, not only fans or people that are aware of our brand, but people that are not. And just the network web of social media is just a huge advantage for us to stay relevant and stay in front of the curve as to what we're doing in the industry. So it's a huge avenue for us, and it's a free avenue for us. So it really helps in the perceptual marketing aspects of our business.
Awesome. It looks like we have another question. So what is one piece of advice you wish you would have had before going into business? So we kind of started off with this one, but we got derailed a little bit. So anybody want to start by answering that one? Maybe you, Bill? Vilmarie, are you muted?
I am, sorry. What is one piece of advice? Just one. I'm going to be very honest and very candid. It's difficult. It is a difficult process and very time-consuming. And in order to be successful, you need to be consumed. You need to be thinking about your next step and your steps after that and your steps after that. So you're going to be tired, but it's going to pay off. So I wish somebody would have told me how tired I was going to be or how many nights I was going to be up sending out emails or sending out quotes or taking a look at text messages at midnight or 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning when I really should be sleeping, but it was okay because I love doing what I do. I wish somebody would have told me that I would have gotten minimal sleep.
Brennan or Kayne, Isaac or Kayne, do either one of you have anything to add?
I mean, I would second that. I mean, in terms of advice, you know, for us, it was something that, you know, we just wanted to do, and so it wasn't like we were seeking, you know, a mentor or advice. But I really would, you know, it's knowing that, especially going into the industry, and Isaac can, you know, can second this, especially on the restaurant side of things, is that you need to know every aspect of what you're doing so that you can lead by example and know that it's and I hate to use the term, but it's going to be a 7 days, you know, or 7 days, 24 hours a week. As you can see, I'm already tired. So it's just nonstop. You know, this morning I was up at 4 o'clock on my way to a distribution partner meeting for their staff at 8 in the morning, and so it's nonstop. And you know, you just got to make sure that it's something that's going to be ultimately a passion and a reflection of what you want to do, because it's you and it's you only that's, you know, guiding the ship. Even though you're going to have a great staff and people to help you along the way, it's your vision and it's your neck on the chopping block ultimately.
I would definitely agree. Crystal, I have a question that came directly to me here. What are some valuable resources you would recommend for other entrepreneurs to make sure that they have or take advantage of? And I think that came from Dorian Thompson. So I'll go ahead and answer that. In particular for me, valuable resources, I recommend every entrepreneur to, as soon as they can, reach a platform with the ability to be able to, number one, hire an accountant. You can do QuickBooks and you can do certain apps or certain things that help you manage your expenses or keep track of things on the day-to-day. But particularly, and depending on what type of business that you're operating, whether it be a large business or a medium-sized business or a small business, the wisdom behind proper structuring from your accounting system can make or break your business. Most businesses fail in the first 24 months. 95 of businesses don't make it past 2 years. While on the flip side, 95% of franchises do. And that's typically because of the franchise. There are a series of systems of control that are put in place. We require everyone that buys a Hope Street Fish and Chips franchise from us to have a direct relationship with the certified accountant. Some other resources that I would recommend, and this is a short book that I'm writing right now called The Entrepreneur's Personal Board of Directors. But I recommend that every entrepreneur have at least a personal board of directors with at least 3 members, people like Kayne, someone who has been in the industry for years, has tested and proven, that has a platform of credibility, that has a very clear voice, that has the expertise to be able to look behind you and give you direct advice, practical advice you can implement on your business, whether it be from your business down.
We're having a little bit, I'm sorry, Isaac.
The daily operation. There's wisdom in each that seeks advice. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
We're having a little bit of breakdown.
I can hear you.
We're having a little bit of breakdown or delay in speech. So I'm not sure if there's a connection issue on your end.
Okay, is it better now?
No.
No? Okay, hold on 1 second for me.
I've got a question.
How about now?
Real quick while he's fixing that.
Is that better?
We'll let you start again, and if we get kind of a choppy response, then we'll let you know.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Took my headset off. What's the last thing you heard?
You talked to us already a little bit about the personal board of directors and kind of explaining what that meant, and then I think you were maybe going on to another point.
Yeah, I was just simply saying that there's wisdom in he that seeks advice, and in business, while you can do as much due diligence as you like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So aligning yourself with people who have a platform of credibility and a platform of experience can be one of the most valuable resources that you can have in the world. Like I said, for example, if I had a mentor like Kayne before I started up to fish and chips, now I'm familiar with Natty Greene's. I've eaten at their Raleigh location. I've patronized their Greensboro location very often. But there are probably things and definitely things that Kayne could have said, hey, look, don't go that way, go this way. And it's like I look at business and that guidance like an Easter egg hunt. When your parents bury those eggs in the ground for you, they bury them in such a way that you can find them. And when you start going in the wrong direction, they say, hey, no, you're getting cold. And when you start going in the right direction, they say, oh, you're getting warmer. And so having somebody to be able to provide that guidance, whether it be once a week or once a month, or a very focused, intentional meeting or conversation once a quarter, can be one of the most valuable resources that an entrepreneur or a business owner can have.
Thank you for that, Isaac. Vilmarie, did you have anything to add?
I'll go ahead and chime in. First thing is putting yourself in front of anyone and everyone that will listen, and so everybody knows who you are. So definitely networking, and two, staying on top of what makes your business your business. So for me, I go to annual conferences, anywhere between once or twice a year, and that's where I pick up the latest tips and tricks and trends so that I can stay competitive. Because again, there are a bunch of makeup artists here in the area, so I like to stay a cut above the competition. So always reinventing and keeping yourself abreast any trends that are either hitting the industry or are in the works down the line. So I would definitely, one, network, and two, continuously educate yourself.
Thank you for that. I want to take one more question, Kayne. I know you said you had one that came in, and then I just want to be cognizant of everyone's time. So once we allow you to answer that question, we'll get ready to wrap up.
Yeah, it's from Dorian Thompson, and how has your target market or brand changed since the revitalization of downtown? And that's basically how it's changed, is with the revitalization of it and all the things that came with it, the baseball stadium, more businesses that came down. It really transitioned us from a product to a brand that was recognized outside of downtown Greensboro through the Triad and throughout the state. So it was a collective effort of not only the city, but other people taking risks to come into downtown, and it worked for everybody.
Awesome. So thank you all for joining us. Not only thanks to the panelists, but thank you to all of the attendees who were able to join us today. This was a very informative conversation, and I hope everyone was able to take something away from it. If you go back to the main screen by exiting out of the full screen view, if that's what you're currently looking in, you will see there's a slide up. It has information for Vilmarie Martinez, Kayne Fisher, and Isaac Horton for Facebook, as well as Instagram for their respective businesses. It also has Vilmarie's and Kayne's websites as well. Again, this is a recorded session. Once we get it up on our site, we will send a link out. Feel free to share this with friends. Again, thank you all for joining us for this installment of the Spartan Share Series, and everyone have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And I know it's 24/7, not 7/24.
We know what you meant. Thank you, Kayne.
I'm going to sleep. Bye.
Bye.
And Crystal, our website is oakcityfishandchips.com.
oakcityfishandchips.com. Thank you for that, Brandon. I will update that information. Again, that's oakcityfishandchips.com. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.